This is Hasanya back with another reading um, from the HalleluYAH scriptures, where we are to begin in Melakim 1 or First Kings at chapter 14. And I will try to read as much as I can again. Heavenly Father, thank you for the continued desire to in my heart to still read and still continue to learn about you. Protect this channel, Father. Protect my mind, body, soul, spirit, my thoughts, Father. Please hedge them in your protection, Father. In my thinking, Father. Be with this channel, Father. Protect it. Send what I need, Father, to help me to propel the channel to where I saw it in my heart going. Thank you, Father, for being on the throne. Thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for the covenant. Thank you for awakening us, Father, to who we are. And thank you for what you're doing in the earth, Father, to bring us back to you, because I think that's what it's about. It's you bringing us back to your covenant. Again, thank you, Father, and just be with me, Father. Be with me. Be with your daughter. Help me to walk in your way, Father. It's truly my desire. These are all things I ask and pray in your name and your son's name. So be it may be so. Okay, so as you see, the lights are, we're playing lights off and on here. I'm in Ghana and they have lights out here. I don't know if you know that, but yeah, the lights were out. I opened the window, the lights came back on. So I'm going to keep the window open just in case they decide to go back out again. But here we go. And that's not going to deter what I'm trying to do nonetheless. Chapter 14. At that time, hold on. Okay. At that time, Abiah, the son of Jeroboam, became sick. And Jeroboam said to his wife, "Please arise and disguise yourself, so they do not know that you are the wife of Jeroboam, and go to Shiloh. See, Ahiah the Nabi is there, who spoke that I would be sovereign over this people. And you shall take with you 10 loaves and cakes and a jar of honey, and go to him, and let him declare to you what becomes of the child." And Jeroboam's wife did so, and rose up and went to Shiloh, and came to the house of Ahiah. And Ahiyahu was unable to see, for his eyes had dimmed because of age. And Yah had said to Ahiyahu, "See, the wife of Jeroboam is coming to ask you a word about her son, for he is sick. Speak to her thus and thus, for it shall be when she comes in that she makes herself strange." And it came to be when Ahiyahu, I'm sorry if I'm butchering the words, heard the sound of her footsteps as she came through the door, he said, "Come in, wife of Jeroboam. Why are you making yourself strange? And I have been sent to you with heaviness. Go, say to Jeroboam, thus said Yah Elohim of Yasharel, because I exalted you from among the people and made you ruler over my people Yasharel, and tore the reign away from the house of Dawid and gave it to you, and you have not been as my servant Dawid, who guarded my commands and who followed me with all his heart to do only what was right in my eyes. But you have done more evil than all who were before you, for you have gone and made yourself other mighty ones, and molded images to provoke me, and have cast me behind your back. Therefore, see, I am bringing evil to the house of Jeroboam, and shall cut off from Jeroboam every male in Yasharel, whether shut up or left at large, and sweep away the remnant of the house of Jeroboam, as one sweeps away during dung, until it is all gone. Those of Jeroboam who die in the city, the dogs eat, and those who die in the field, the birds of Shamaim eat. For Yah has spoken it. And you arise, go to your house. When your feet enter the city, the child shall die. And all Yasharel shall mourn for him and bury him, for he is the only one of Jeroboam who shall come to the grave, because in him there is found a good report toward Yah Elohim of Yasharel in the house of Jeroboam. Wow. And Yah shall raise up for himself a sovereign over Yasharel, who cuts off the house of Jeroboam this day and even now. And Yah shall smite Yasharel as a reed is shaken in the water, and shall pluck Yasharel from this good land which he gave to their fathers, and shall scatter them beyond the river, because they made their Asherim provoking Yah. And he shall give Yasharel up because of the sins of Jeroboam, who sinned and who made Yasharel sin. And the wife of Jeroboam rose up and went and came to Tirzah. When she came to the threshold of the house, the child died. And they buried him, and all Yasharel lamented for him, according to the word of Yah, which he spoke through his servant Ahayahu the Nabi. And the rest of the acts of Jeroboam, how he fought and how he reigned, see, they are written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Yasharel. And the days that Jeroboam reigned were 22 years. So he slept with his fathers, and Nadab, his son, reigned in his place. Meanwhile, Rehoboam, son of Solomon, reigned in Yehuda. Rehoboam was 41 years old when he became sovereign, and he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem, the city which Yah had chosen out of all the tribes of Yasharel to put his name there. And his mother's name was Naamah the Ammonitess. And Yehuda did evil in the eyes of Yah, and they provoked him to jealousy with their sins, which they committed more than all that their fathers had done. For they also built for themselves high places and pillars and Asherim on every high hill and under every green tree. And there were also cult prostitutes in the land. They did according to all the abominations of the Gentiles, which Yah dispossessed before the children of Yasharel. And it came to be in the 5th year of the sovereign Rehoboam that Shishak, sovereign of Mitzrayim, came up against Jerusalem, and he took away the treasures of the house of Yah and the treasures of the sovereign's house. He even took away all, and he took away all the shields of gold which Solomon had made, and sovereign Rehoboam made shields of bronze to replace them, and entrusted them into the hands of the chiefs of the guard, who guarded the entrance of the sovereign's house. And it came to be, whenever the sovereign went into the house of Yah, the guards would bring them, then take them back into the guard room. And the rest of the acts of Rehoboam and all that he did, are they not written in the books of the annals of the sovereigns of Yehuda? And there was fighting between Rehoboam and Jeroboam all the days. So Rehoboam slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David. And the name of his mother was Naamah the Ammonitess. And Abiam, his son, reigned in his place. Chapter 15. And in the 18th year of the sovereign Jeroboam, son of Nebat, Abiam became sovereign over Yehuda. Okay. He reigned 3 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Maacah, and the granddaughter of Absalom. And he walked in all the sins of his father, which he had done before him, and his heart was not perfect with Yah, his Elohim, as was the heart of his father David. But for David's sake, Yah, his Elohim, gave him a lamp in Jerusalem to raise up his son after him, and by establishing Jerusalem. For David did what was right in the eyes of Yah, and did not turn aside from all that he commanded him all the days of his life, except in the matter of Uriah the Hittite. And there was fighting between Rehoboam and Jeroboam all the days of his life, and the rest of the acts of Abiam and all that he did, are they not written in the books of the annals of the sovereigns of Yehuda? And there was fighting between Abiam and Jeroboam. So Abiam slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David, and Asa his son reigned in his place. And in the 20th year of Jeroboam's sovereign of Yasharel, Asa became sovereign over Yehuda, and he reigned 41 years in Jerusalem, and his grandmother's name was Maacah, the granddaughter of Absalom. And Asa did what was right in the eyes of Yah, and his father David, as his father David had done, and put away the cult prostitutes from the land, and removed all the idols that his fathers had made. And he also removed Maacah, his grandmother, from being sovereigness mother, because she had made an abominable image for Asherah. And Asa cut down her abominable image and burnt it by the Wadi Kidron. But the high places were not removed. However, Asa's heart was perfect with Yah all his days. And he brought into the house of Yah the Kadesh items of his father, and his own Kadesh items, silver and gold, and utensils. And there was fighting between Asa and Baasha, sovereign of Yasharel, all their days. Okay, and there was fighting between Asa and Baasha and Baasha, sovereign of Yasharel, all their days. And Baasha, sovereign of Yasharel, came up against Yehuda and built Ramah to keep anyone from going out or coming into Asa, sovereign of Yehuda. And Asa took all the silver and gold that was left in the treasuries of the house of Yah and the treasuries of the sovereign's house, and gave them into the hand of his servants. And sovereign Asa sent them to Ben-Hadad, son of Tabraman, son of Hizion, sovereign of Aram, who dwelt in Damascus, saying, "Let there be a covenant between you and me, as there was between my father and your father. Look, I have sent you a present of silver and gold. Come, break your covenant with Baasha, sovereign of Yasharel, so that he withdraws from me." And Ben-Hadad listened to sovereign Asa, and sent the commanders of his armies against the cities of Yasharel, and smote Ion and Dan and Abel Beth, Maacah, and all Kinneroth, with all the land of Naphtali. And it came to be, when Baasha heard it, that he stopped building Ramah and remained in Tirzah. Then sovereign Asa summoned all Yehuda. None was exempted. And they took away the stones and timber of Ramah, which Baasha had used for building. And with them sovereign Asa built Geba of Benjamin and Mitzpah. And the rest of all the acts of Asa, and all his might, and all that he did, and the cities which he built, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Yehuda? But in the time of his old age he was diseased in his feet. So Asa slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David, his father. And Jehoshaphat, his son, reigned in his place. And Nadab, son of Jeroboam, became sovereign over Yasharel in the 2nd year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, and he reigned over Yasharel 2 years. And he did evil in the eyes of Yah, and walked in the way of his father, and in his sin, by which he had made Yasharel sin. Then Baasha, son of Ahiah, of the house of Issachar, conspired against him. And Baasha smote him in Gibbethon, which belonged to the Pelishtites. For Nadab and all Yasharel had laid siege to Gibbethon, and Baasha killed him in the 3rd year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, and reigned in his place. Okay. And it came to be when he became sovereign that he smote all the house of Jeroboam. He did not leave to Jeroboam anyone breathing until he had destroyed him, according to the word of Yah, which he had spoken by his servant Ahiah the Shilonite, because of the sins of Jeroboam, which he had sinned, and by which he had made Yasharel sin, because of his provocation, with which he had provoked Yah Elohim of Yasharel. And the rest of the acts of Nadab, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Yasharel? And there was fighting between Asa and Baasha, sovereign of Yasharel, all their days. And the 3rd year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, Baasha, son of Ahiah, became sovereign over all Yasharel in Tirzah, and reigned 24 years. And he did evil in the eyes of Yah, and walked in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin, by which he had made Yasharel sin. Chapter 16. Then the word of Yah came to Yahu, son of Hanani, against Baasha, saying, because I raised you up out of the dust, and made you ruler over my people Yasharel, but you walked in the way of Jeroboam, and made my people Yasharel sin to provoke me with their sins. See, I am going to sweep away Baasha and his house, and shall make your house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat. Anyone belonging to Baasha who dies in the city, the dogs eat. Anyone belonging to him who dies in the field, the birds of the Shamaini. And the rest of the acts of Baasha, what he did, and his might, are they not written in the books of the annals of the sovereigns of Yasharel? So Baasha slept with his fathers, and was buried in the Tirzah. And his son Elah reigned in his place. Moreover, the word of Yah came to the Nabi Yahu, son of Hananiah, against Baasha and his house, because of all the evil that he did in the eyes of Yah, and provoking him with the work of his hands, in being like the house of Jeroboam, and because he smote them. In the 26th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, Elah, son of Baasha, began to reign over Yasharel in Tirzah 2 years, and his servant Zimri, commander of half his chariots, conspired against him, as he was in Tirzah drinking himself drunk in the house of Arza, who was over his house in Tirzah. Then Zimri came in and smote him and killed him in the 27th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, and reigned in his place. And it came to be when he began to reign, as soon as he was seated on his throne, that he smote all the household of Baasha. He did not leave him one male, neither of his relatives nor of his friends. So Zimri destroyed the entire house of Baasha, according to the word of Yah, which he spoke against Baasha by Yahu the Nabi. For the sins of Baasha and the sins of Elah, his son, by which they had sinned, and by which they had made Yasharel sin in provoking Yah Elohim of Yasharel with their worthlessnesses. And the rest of the acts of Elah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Yasharel? In the 27th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, Zimri reigned 7 days in Tirzah, and the people were encamped against Gibbethon, which belonged to the Pelishites. And the people encamped heard and said, Zimri has conspired and also smote the sovereign. So all Yasharel appointed Omri, the commander of the army, to reign over Yasharel that day in the camp. And Omri went up, and all Yasharel with him from Gibbethon, and they besieged Tirzah. And it came to be when Zimri saw that the city was captured, and he went into the high place of the sovereign's house and burned the sovereign's house down upon himself with fire, and died, because of the sins which he had seen and had sinned in doing evil in the eyes of Yah, and walking in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin which he had committed to make Yasharel sin. And the rest of the acts of Zimri and the conspiracy he made, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Yasharel? Then the people of Yasharel were divided in 2 parts. Half of the people followed Tibni, son of Ginath, to make him reign, and half followed Omri. But the people who followed Omri were stronger than the people who followed Tibni, son of Ginath. And Tibni died, and Omri reigned. In the 31st year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, Omri became sovereign over Yasharel and reigned 27 years. He reigned 7 years in Tirzah. And he brought the hill Shomeron from Shemer for 2 kikers of silver, and built a hill, and called the name of the city which he built Shomeron, after the name of Shamar over the hill. And Omri did evil in the eyes of Yah. Okay. And did evil more than all those before him, and walked in all the ways of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and in his sin, by all which he had made Yasharel sin, provoking Yah Elohim of Yasharel with their worthlessnesses. And the rest of the acts of Omri which he did, and the might that he attained, are they not written in the books of the annals of the sovereigns of Yasharel? So Omri stepped with his father and was head in Shomeron, and Ahab his son reigned in peace. In the 38th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, Ahab son of Omri became sovereign over Yasharel. Okay. I'm going to read 29 again. I'm sorry. In the 38th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, Ahab, son of Omri, became sovereign over Yasharel. And Ahab, son of Omri, reigned over Yasharel and Shomer, Solomon, 22 years. And Ahab, son of Omri, did evil in the eyes of Yah, more than all those before him. And it came to be as though it has. Okay. And it came to be as though it had been a light matter for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, that he took and took as wife Isabel, the daughter of Eth- Ethbal, sovereign of Tishdonians, and he walked around, and he went and served Baal and bowed himself to it. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going back to 31. And it came to be as though it had been a light matter for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, that he took as wife Isabel, the daughter of Ethbaal, sovereign of the Sidonians, and he went and served Baal and bowed himself to it, and raised up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Shemaron. And Ahab made an Asherah, and Ahab did more to provoke Elohim of Yasharel than all the sovereigns of Yasharel before him. Okay. In his days, Hiel and Beth. In his days, Hiel of Berth Ha Eli brought Jericho. He laid its foundation at the cost of Abraham, his firstborn, and to get Abraham, his firstborn, and at cost of his youngest son, Segeb, he put up its gates according to the word of Yah, which he had spoken through Yehoshua, son of Nun. Okay. Okay. I took a break. You don't know that because you just don't know that. But I may or may not be about to read something I've already read. And then I'm going to go back to 1 Kings chapter 16 and begin at verse 28. And I think I've read this already. I think I had actually gotten to 17, but I can't remember if I had or not. So I'm just going to rewind a bit to, like I said, 28 and just begin from there. So excuse me if we've already read this and I'm reading it, but it's okay to reread the Bible. It's okay. So 28. So Amram slept with his fathers and was buried in Shemaron. And Ahab his son reigned in his place. In the 38th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, Ahab son of Omri, became sovereign over Yasharel. And Ahab son of Omri reigned over Yasharel in Shemaron 22 years. And Ahab son of Omri did evil in the eyes of Yah more than all those before him. And it came to be as though it had been a light matter for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, that he took as wife Isabel, the daughter of Ithbaal, sovereign of the Sidonians. And he went and served Baal and bowed himself to it, and raised up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Shemaron. And Ahab made an Asherah, and Ahab did more to provoke Yah, Elohim of Yasharel, than all the sovereigns of Yasharel before him. In his days, Hiel of Beth Ha Eli built Jericho, I think. He laid its foundation at the cost of Abiram, his firstborn, and at the cost of his youngest son, Segub, he put up its gates, according to the word of Yah, which he had spoken through Yehoshua, son of Nun. Okay, chapter 17. And Eliyahu, the Tishbite of the inhabitants of Gilead, said to Ahab, as Yah, Elohim of Yasharel lives, before whom I stand, there shall be no dew or rain these years, except at my word. And the word of Yah came to him, saying, go away from here and turn eastward and hide in the Wadi Kerith, which flows into the Jordan or Yarden. And it shall be that you drink from the stream, and I shall command the ravens to feed you there. And he went and did according to the word of Yah, for he went and dwelt by the Wadi Kerith, which flows into the Jordan or Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat in the evening, and he drank from the stream. Oh, that's so cool. And it came to be after a while that the stream dried up, because there had been no rain. Excuse me. No rain in the land. Then the word of Yah came to him, saying, Rise up and go to Sarephath, which belongs to Sidon, and dwell there. See, I have commanded a widow there to sustain you. And he rose up and went to Sarephath, and came to the gate of the city, and saw a widow there gathering sticks. And he called and said to her, Please bring me a little water in a vessel to drink. And as she was going to get it, he called and said to her, Please bring me a piece of bread in your hand. And she said, As Yah, your Elohim lives, I do not have bread, only a handful of flour in a bin and a little oil in a jar. And see, I am gathering a couple of sticks, and shall go in and prepare it for myself and my son, and we shall eat it and die. And HalleluYAH said to her, Do not fear. Go and do as you have said, but make me a small cake from it first, and bring it to me, and afterward make some for yourself and your son. For thus says Yah, Elohim of Yasharel, the bin of flour shall not be used up, nor the jar of oil run dry, until the day Yah sends rain on the earth. So she went and did according to the word of Eliyahu. And she and he and her household ate for many days. The bin of flour was not used up, nor did the jar of oil run dry, according to the word of Yah, which spoke by Eliyahu. And after these events, it came to be that the son of the woman who owned the house became sick. And his sickness was very severe until there was no breath left in him. And she said to Eliyahu, What have I to do with you, O man of Elohim? How have you come to me to bring my wickedness to me, to be remembered, and to kill my son? And he said to her, Give me your son. So he took him from her arms and took him to the upper room where he was dwelling, and laid him on his own bed, and cried out to Yah, and said, O Yah, my Elohim, have you also brought evil on the widow with whom I am sojourning to kill her son? And he stretched himself out on the child 3 times, and cried out to Yah, and said, O Yah, my Elohim, I pray, let the life of this child come back to him. And Yah heard the voice of Eliyahu, and the life of the child came back to him, and he lived. And Eliyahu took the child and brought him down from the upper room into the house, and gave him to his mother. And Eliyahu said, See, your son lives. And the woman said to Eliyahu, Now, by this I know that you are a man of Elohim, and that the word of Yah is in your mouth is true. Chapter 18. And after many days it came to be that the word of Yah came to Eliyahu in the 3rd year, saying, Go, present yourself to Ahab, and I give rain on the earth. Thereupon Eliyahu went to present himself to Ahab, and the scarcity of food in Shamaron was severe. And Ahab had called Abedyahu, who was over his house, and Abedyahu revered Yah exceedingly. And it came to be, while Isabel cut down the nibbim of Yah, that Abedyahu had taken 100 nibbim and hidden them, 50 in a cave, and had fed them with bread and water. And Ahab, had said to Abedyahu, Go into the land to all the springs of water and to all the wadis. It could be that we find grass to keep the horses and mules alive and not have any livestock cut off. And they divided the land between them to pass over it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Abed-Yahu went another way by himself. And as Abed-Yahu was on his way, then see, Eliyahu met him, and he recognized him and fell on his face and said, "Is that you, my master Eliyahu?" And he answered him, "It is I. Go say to your master Eliyahu is here." And he said, "What have I sinned, that you are giving your servant into the hand of Ahab to kill me? As Yah, your Elohim, lives, there is no nation or reign where my master has not sent to look for you." And when they said, "He is not here," he made the reign or nation swear that they could not find you. And now you say, "Go say to your master Eliyahu is here." And it shall be, as soon as I am gone from you, that the Ruah of Yah takes you away to a place I do not know. And I shall come to report to Ahab, and when he does not find you, he shall kill me. But I, your servant, have revered Yah from my youth. How, what it was it not reported to my master that I did what I did when Israel slew the Nabim of Yah, how I hid 100 men of the Nabim of Yah, 50 in a cave, and fed them with bread and water. And now you say, "Go, say to your master Eliyahu is here, then he shall slay me." And Eliyahu said, "As Yah our host lives, before whom I stand, I shall indeed show myself to him today." Obed-Yahu then went to meet Ahad and informed him, and Ahab went to meet Eliyahu. And it came to be, when Ahab saw Eliyahu, that Ahab said to him, "Is this you, O disturber of Yasharel?" And he answered, "I have not disturbed Yasharel, but you and your father's house, in that you have forsaken the commands of Yah, and you have followed the Baals. And now send and gather all Yasharel to me on Mount Carmel, the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah who eat at Isabel's table." Ahab then sent for all the children of Yasharel and gathered the prophets on Mount Carmel. And Eliyahu came to all the people and said, "How long would you keep hopping between two opinions, or hoping between two opinions? If Yah is Elohim, follow him, and if Baal, follow him." But the people answered him not a word. And Eliyahu said to the people, "I alone am left Nabi of Yah, but the prophets of Baal are 450 men. Now let them give us 2 bulls, and let them choose 1 bull for themselves, and cut it in pieces and lay it on the wood, but light no fire. And I prepare the other bull, and shall lay it on the wall, but light no fire. And you shall call on the name of your mighty one, and I will call on the name of Yah. And the Elohim who answers by fire, he is Elohim." So all the people answered and said, "The word is good." And Eliyahu said to the prophets of Baal, "Choose 1 bull for yourself, and prepare it first, for you are many, and call on the name of the mighty one, but light no fire." So they took the bull which was given them, and prepared it, and called on the name of Baal. And from morning until evening, until noon, saying, "O Baal, answer us." But there was no voice, and no one answered. And they leapt about the altar which they had made. And it came to be at noon that Eliyahu taunted them and said, "Cry aloud, for he is a mighty one. He is meditating, or he is busy, or he is on a journey." Or it could be that he is asleep and has to be awakened. And they cried aloud and cut themselves according to their ruling with knives and spears until the blood gushed out on them. And it came to be when midday was past that they prophesied until the time of the bringing of the offering, but there was no voice and no one answered and no one paying attention. Then Eliyahu said to all the people, "Come closer to me." And all the people came closer to him, and he repaired the altar of Yah that was broken down. And Eliyahu took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Yaakov, to whom the word of Yah had come, saying, Yasharel is your name. And with the stones he built an altar to the name of Yah. And he made a trench around the altar large enough to hold 2 seahs of seed. And he arranged the wood and cut the bull in pieces and laid it on the wood and sand. Fill 4 jars with water and pour it on the burnt offering and on the wood. Then he said, "Do it a second time." And they did it a second time. And he said, "Do it a third time." And they did it a third time. And the water flowed around the altar, and he filled the trench with water too. And it came to be at the time of the bringing the altar, that Eliyahu the Nabi came near and said, Yah Elohim of Abraham, Yachik and Yasharel, let it be known today you are Elohim in Yasharel, and I, your servant, have done all these matters by your word. Answer me, O Yah, answer me, and let this people know that you are Yah Elohim, and you shall turn their heads back to you again. Then the fire of Yah fell and consumed the burnt offering and the wood and the stones and the dust, and it licked up the water that was in the trench. And all the people saw and fell on their faces, and and all the people saw and fell on their faces and said, Yah, he is Elohim. Yah, he is Elohim. And Eliyahu said to them, seize the prophets of Baal. Do not let one of them escape. So they seized them, and Eliyahu brought them down to the Wadi Kashan and slew them there. And Eliyahu said to Ahab, go up and eat and drink, because of the sound of the noise of rain. And Ahab went up to eat and to drink, and Eliyahu went up to the lodge of Carmel, and he bowed down on the ground and put his face between his knees. Put his face between his knees and said to his servant, go up, please, look closely together toward the sea. So he went up and knocked closely and said, not a speck. And 7 times he said, go again. And it came to be the 7th time that he said, see, a little cloud as small as a man's hand is coming out of the sea. And he said, go up, say to Ahab, hitch up and go down before the rain stops you. And in the meantime, it came to be that the Shamaim became black with clouds and wind, and there was a heavy rain, which Joab rode and went to Yasharel. And the hand of Yah was on Eliyahu, and he girded up his loins and ran ahead of Ahab to the entrance of Israel. Okay, so thank you for joining me today. We made it through to chapter 19. meaning we read through chapter 18, and we will begin at chapter 19 in my next reading. And I'm not certain if I will try to do another one this evening, or we will see each other tomorrow. But either way, shalom and blessings, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.